Dr. John Campbell just discovered something astonishing about the Shroud of Turin that might change science, history, and religion. It's fascinating that this discovery seems to have been meant for just the present. The shroud was revered for centuries, yet its true beauty remained unknown until photography. Before cameras, people didn't realize the shroud's true contents, a bizarre negative image that displays more than the human eye can perceive. On the 14-foot Shroud of Turin, a faint image of a man who was severely beaten, scourged, and crucified is visible. Many believe it's Jesus' burial shroud. The shroud survived trips, battles, and a 1532 fire that scorched and discolored it. Despite all the damage, the main picture was undamaged, virtually protected. This relic's long-standing mystery adds to its appeal. People viewed the image but didn't grasp its nature or origin. Secondo Pia, an Italian photographer, captured the shroud's first image in 1898. When processing the photographic negative, Pia expected an inverted image as usual. Instead, he saw a lifelike human body and face like a high-resolution portrait. Nobody anticipated this. The shroud was found to be a paranormal snapshot from more than a millennium before photography. Dr. Campbell notes that Protestant thinkers were suspicious of this insight, which should have changed everything. One of the most famous detractors was Protestant Reformation leader John Calvin. Calvin was so sure the shroud was a fabrication that many Protestant groups ignored it. Many Catholics accepted the shroud for centuries, but some called it a medieval fake. Dr. Campbell considered this a grave mistake, like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Even though many medieval artifacts were fake, not all were. In 1978, scientists and specialists founded the Shroud of Turin Research Project, STURP, which changed everything. One participant, Vernon Miller, took several close-ups of the shroud using different lighting and techniques. He captured the man's face, eyes, nose, lips, and bloodstains. These were actual crucifixion, beating, and scourging wounds, not decorations. Blood patterns were comparable to those of someone beaten on the shoulders and back, with nails in their wrists and feet, and wearing a crown of thorns. Modern scientists have confirmed the shroud's bloodstains. The blood was type AB, rare in the Middle East. The guy on the shroud had experienced severe bodily harm. According to the forensic data, he was flogged with a Roman flagrum, a whip with metal balls or bones fastened to the ends, as evidenced by the marks on his body. The legs and back alone have more than 100 scourge markings. The significant bruises on the shoulders are presumably produced by carrying a hefty item, such as a wooden cross. The scraped knees imply frequent falls. The face is swollen, likely from being beaten with a staff or punched, and the nose is shattered. An odd connection to the depiction in the Book of Isaiah, which portrays a man so damaged and disfigured that he no longer resembled a human being, is the fact that part of the beard appears to have been ripped away. Dr. Campbell comments that some of these scars are compatible with the gospel descriptions of Jesus' suffering. For instance, bloodstains on the scalp and forehead make the crown of thorns evident. Since nails through the palms would not be able to sustain the weight of the body, the wrist wounds, rather than the palms as customary iconography depicts, are physically true for how the Romans genuinely crucified persons. The side wound is highly serious. The Gospel of John tells that a Roman soldier verified Jesus' death by piercing his side with a spear after he died on the cross. As one may anticipate from a punctured heart and lungs, the shroud depicts a big oval wound on the right side of the chest filled with blood and clear liquids. The manner that current technology has broadened the conundrum is even more interesting. The shroud was analyzed utilizing NASA imaging instruments that were initially developed for space travel. They reported that the image contains three-dimensional information and is not only a flat surface print. This shows that the image's coloring matches the real distance between the body and the cloth. No creative method, especially medieval one, can reproduce this result. The picture is not hand-painted, printed, or burnt onto cloth. It's like a radiation impression from a tremendous energy burst that spared the linen strands. Because of this, some believe the picture was created at the resurrection, a light, radiation, or energy burst that left a precise impression of Jesus' body on the fabric. Even non-religious scholars are curious about that theory, even though it cannot be scientifically verified. Additionally, the shroud matches the biblical story of Jesus' burial. Joseph of Arimathea, Jesus' wealthy follower, covered the body in fine linen, according to the Gospels. The shroud shows the front and back of a flattened man with a cloth over his head. Jewish burial practices at the time match this. Blood spreads throughout the body like a real corpse would have when laying in that position after death. The Shroud of Turin is one of the most examined things in human history despite decades of skepticism, controversy, and scientific inquiry. Traditional art cannot describe its picture, which contradicts our understanding of image making. The Shroud is a mystery that mixes ancient prophecy, modern science, and ageless inquiries about life, death, and what could be beyond, regardless of whether one believes it to be the burial shroud of Jesus. The Shroud of Turin captivates people worldwide. It appears to hold the sorrow, demise, and mystery of a man who lived and died centuries ago, making it more than simply an antique cloth. A powerful yet silent story appears in the fabric's stains and marks. Many believe the cloth wrapped Jesus' crucifixion corpse. Looking at the shroud, scientists and scholars saw something peculiar. Fabric picture isn't a painting. Paint, dye, or any other known coloring substance are not used in its creation. Instead, the picture is just on the top of the 2 to 2.5 micron linen threads. Instead of being painted, the image got onto the cloth's outer layer without penetrating. In 1978, researchers performed one of the shroud's most extensive scientific studies. After analyzing the fabric using specialized equipment, they found that the image couldn't have been created using standard artistic techniques. No pigment, brushstrokes, or typical art methods were visible. They found an organic picture that resembled a photograph but was made before photography. The picture's incredible detail is even more mysterious. Typical Roman crucifixion wounds are present. A whipping left severe marks on the back. Nail holes are seen on the hands and feet. Even a spear-compatible side wound is present. Medical practitioners are amazed by these marks' precision, which aren't painted but emerge in the picture. Blood is another anomaly. Scientists confirmed the streaks were human blood. Blood remains crimson after over 2,000 years. Old blood often becomes brown or black. The blood in this case displays high bilirubin levels, which are typical of severe trauma and fit the story of a tortured and crucified victim. Under a microscope, researchers uncovered something far more fascinating. Serum halos around the bloodstains show that the blood separated as it dried, like fresh blood. A forger would struggle to fabricate this detail. One of the most amazing findings was discovered by 3D imaging professionals on the shroud. Unlike pictures or drawings, the fabric image is three-dimensional. Researchers used a computer to create a lifelike 3D representation of the man's physique. His features, injuries, and limb locations were exposed in shocking clarity. The man on the shroud appears to be in rigor mortis, a post-mortem stiffening. Since his arms are down and his knees are somewhat bent, his muscles may have frozen while hanging on the cross. His head appears raised because his body stiffened during crucifixion, not because it was on a pillow. The shroud details all of this with shocking medical accuracy. How was this picture made? Mystery persists. The body may have released radiant energy like a flash of light to make it. Researchers tried to reproduce the effect using powerful lasers but failed. Despite modern technology, we cannot fully explain how the image was created. A tiny shroud piece was carbon dated in 1988. Findings indicate the cloth was created between 1260 and 1390 during the Middle Ages. This led many to suspect the shroud was a fabrication. However, further investigation revealed that the test piece was from a repaired part with newer threads. Because of this, the test likely gave a fake date. Recent spectroscopy-based dating suggests the textile is from the 1st century. Since its structure, weave, and pollen mimic ancient Israeli textiles, some scientists believe it dates to Jesus' time. This indicates that the shroud may be Christ's burial garment. The shroud is highly accurate, according to historians and experts who research it. Without modern abilities and resources, no artist from the Middle Ages or even today could have generated such lifelike wounds, body positions, and 3D effects. The injuries, muscles, and blood match Roman executions. Science has yet to solve the last mystery. Could anything unknown have caused this image? Could the resurrection have caused it? Have we not uncovered a scientific explanation? No matter your perspective, the Shroud of Turin is one of the most powerful and enigmatic artifacts. It shocks scientists, challenges historians, and inspires millions. The question remains, what did the shroud picture look like? Which guy was responsible?